Hey guys, it has taken me a while to sort of work up the courage and to sort out exactly what I wanted to say to you about your summer reading assignment. I was really excited when I found out they were doing this. One, because I think the book is really awesome, and secondly, because I think it's an interesting idea and I'd like to see how it works out. Unfortunately, what I found out when I talked to most of you was that you didn't agree with me on either of those opinions. There are many of you who just really flat out, not that you just didn't like the book, you insisted that it was awful and meaningless and far beneath your intellectual needs. And those of you, even that did kind of like the book, seemed really unsure about the program itself. Well, let me talk about that first. The reason I liked the idea of one book, one school was that from the description I got, you all will be asked to participate in book discussions with students that you might not normally be in class with. I think this is a really positive idea. I know many of you take your studies very seriously and you're very committed to your honors track world, but even when you get to college, that's not really how life is. And I think you might be selling some of your peers a little bit short with what they would have to say about this book. I think it's just kind of an interesting experiment to see where people are coming from and people that might have different experiences than you have, especially since this book does really focus so much on academic opportunities. It might be interesting to see what life is like for people who aren't living in an honors world. And I stick with honors because most of you that I've talked to are honor students. The criticism I think that was a little bit tougher for me to deal with was this idea that this was a bad book. Not that you didn't like it, but that the book itself was bad. Um, yeah, I read the book earlier in the summer and I was all ready to make my little video and tell you why I thought this was such a great idea. And then I started reading the posts from your Facebook group and it it stung a little bit. Um, those of you who I know that before I was a librarian, I was an English teacher, and one of the main reasons that I stopped doing that was because I was really personally attached to the things that I had to teach, and it hurt my feelings when my students didn't like the books that I liked, and it kind of attacked them. I felt like they were attacking me personally. So it's probably good that I don't do that anymore. But yeah, I had to stop looking at your Facebook group because it upset me when I realized how bad you thought this book was. And I feel so strongly that it's a really fantastic piece of literature and is absolutely worthy of your time. Yeah, so let me speak to that a little bit. The book itself, here it is, with its big National Book Award sticker on the front, and this whole big front page listing all of the assorted awards and starred reviews that it has gotten. I don't love every book that has won an award. There have been some that, frankly, I thought the awards committee must be out of their minds to have selected. However, I think that you need to think about that a little bit. If so very many people whose profession it is to judge literature and evaluate whether or not a piece of writing is of high quality, if that many people thought this was an amazing work, maybe you should ask yourselves why that is. This is not me asking you to like the book, but I think that there's a distinction between not liking something and not acknowledging the value of something. I don't know if you guys are being so hard on it because I've heard that some of your teachers have been really hard on it, which I was really disappointed about. And this myth that young adult fiction can't be sophisticated and well done, and I think that's sad. I also think it's sad if it is in fact true that your teachers trashed the book to you before you even had a chance to read it. But there's really nothing I can do about that now. Um, Also, the author himself, Sherman Alexie, is a really talented guy. He's a screenwriter and a poet, and if nothing else, poets are extremely careful about the type of language that they use. I think that you should think about the choices that he made in putting this book together. He's done some really fascinating things with his word choices. I'm really trying hard not to get into the specifics of what I think is so fascinating about the word choice here. I think that you'll have an opportunity to do that when you go back to school in the fall. But to those of you who read it and just thought that the book was not really all that worthy of your time, or that it was beneath you because you're an upperclassman, I hope that maybe you will reconsider and know that just because maybe the vocabulary is not as difficult as some of the other things that you're going to be reading, that doesn't mean that the ideas behind it aren't worth discussing, and that the book isn't a sophisticated piece of literature that is absolutely worthy of discussion. I hope that you guys give the program a chance.